Hi Gina.
Hi Ione. Hi everyone. I'm Gina, the senior editor of Polyester.
And I'm Ione, the founding editor-in-chief of Polyester, and this is the Polyester Podcast, a feminist pop culture podcast dissecting the discourse on a weekly basis.
Please make sure to like, rate, subscribe and review. And if you didn't already know, members get a free copy of every zine we put out, like the one that's coming out soon. As well as lots of extra perks like one-on-one mentoring with moi, a group WhatsApp chat where you can talk to me, Ione, and other members of the team and other members, and loads more. Sign up via the link in our description. Do we have new reviews, Ione?
What do you think?
Well, I know.
We do! Yay! This is by C. Nicole N. on Apple Podcasts. Woo! Class podcast hosted and edited by Class Gals, 5 stars. Love this podcast and can't wait to listen to it every Monday morning when it drops. The perfect way to start my week. Whilst I don't always agree, I appreciate the arguments Ione and Gina present week on week with different topics as they help me to form my own opinions and conclusions on a topic.
Beautiful.
There's more. I just listened to the episode with Olivia Graham about the podcast she released with the BBC on the Beast of Birkenhead. Similar to Gina, I had recently stopped listening to true crime after finding years of listening to cases back to back became too much for me. However, I absolutely loved Olivia's podcast series. It held so much respect and consideration for the victims of the case, something which is really overlooked in a lot of true crime media. Thank you, Olivia, for spending 18 plus months working on that story and keeping it alive in the hopes it will one day be solved. Class Gals all round, love heart. That is a lovely review. Thank you.
That's lovely.
And the Spotify girls are in. This is about our Tracy Emin episode from last week. Eliza says, loved attending this. Sad to not get the opportunity to finish the Q&A due to the fire alarm. Very wholesome to see your team supporting events for young people / the Gen Z girlies, as one of the oldest millennials in the room. Well, Gina's 23, so...
I know, I'm one of the younger Gen Zs, if anything.
But thank you, Eliza.
Thank you, Eliza.
Annabelle King says, loved hearing this in person and re-listening post seeing Tracy's show, which was amazing. The fire alarm was chaotic, haha, but was still a great discussion and loved the depth, as always, from Gina and Ione.
Thank you.
Also, I feel like we should say, because I don't even know if we've spoken about it on the podcast, that there is a polyester book coming out.
Wow.
The polyester book of bad taste.
I had no idea what you were going to say then. I was like, fuck.
Nothing bad.
Announcement.
The polyester book of bad taste.
The Polyester Book of Bad Taste, edited by founding editor-in-chief Ione Gamble, featuring some of the greatest minds of our generation, as well as me.
And Gina Tonic.
We got Tavi Gevinson, we got Kat Cohn, we got Annie Lord, we got Angela Hui, we got
Nicola Danan,
we got
Yomi Adioke,
we got
Zarina Mohammed of the White Pube,
we got
Seth Bogart,
Lauren O'Neill,
Rini Matic,
and many more.
Many more.
How excited are you, Ione, on a scale of 1 to 100?
Very excited.
That's not a number.
I don't like numbers, so that's just my decision.
Well, I'm on 10 million times infinity, so
yeah, same.
But yeah, it's out on the
18th of June.
Where?
All good bookshops.
Perfect. And you can pre-order one now if you wanted.
And we're going to be doing events in London, Manchester, Charleston, in Lewis, in the UK, not America. We don't have a US deal yet, so if you run a US publisher or work as an editor at a US publisher,
tell us.
Buy our book. If you want us to do an event in your city in the UK, tell your bookshop to book us.
Yes, exactly. Or any venue, really.
Well, probably a bookshop though.
I'll turn up to the Wicked Men's Club.
Yeah, but it's usually how it works with books.
Books.
Yeah, books.
There's also going to be an audiobook, and also around that same time we've got a new issue coming out. So if you aren't based in the UK, that will be international.
Yeah, you can still get the new issue and it is banging.
Yeah, so you'll be like surrounded by beauty either way in halfway through the month of June.
A cover drops for it on Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah, this Friday. Okay, thank you. Enough of that.
Thank you so much.
Enough of that.
Now this is like one of the first times we've ever done this, but we did this for a mini episode.
And it's just gone bananas.
And it's gone so bazinga bazonga, we're gonna record a whole new other 30 minutes, and maybe we won't even say the same things, maybe we will say the same things, maybe you could listen to both and be like, wow, 45 minutes of these girls talking about this particular topic. But what are we talking about, Ione?
Well, I don't think we're going to say the same things because so much has happened since, but today we are talking about...
I think I've got the same feelings.
Yeah, but still there's a lot more ground to cover, do you know what I mean?
Yes, I'm with you.
Olivia Rodrigo Babydoll dresses and the old chestnut of pedobaiting accusations, which we actually witnessed firsthand because the first pedobaiting for Olivia Rodrigo accusation came for her music video for Drop Dead, which, if you haven't seen it, is the first single of her new third album. Mm-hmm. And she is running around Versailles wearing a little Chloe dress and bloomers and knee-high socks, and everyone was like, pedo bait. And she's wearing like wide headphones and skipping around and stuff. And then that's when we did our first episode.
It was in like mid-April, I think it released.
And then
now
Olivia Rodrigo did a gig in Barcelona for Spotify because she did a collab on a football shirt. We had boots on the ground.
4 boots on the ground.
We had 4 boots on the ground, Tanya and Lauren. They went to said concert. But at the concert, Olivia Rodrigo was once again seen wearing a Babydoll dress. It was more of a traditional Babydoll dress than the one in the video, which was a Chloe dress, which I would say not necessarily a Babydoll dress.
No, it was more of a top, like a ruffly top.
Well, it was more like a negligee vibe.
But on stage, she was wearing like
a full trad Babydoll dress.
Really short, and then like knee-high Doc Martens.
And bloomers. And then there was this tweet that went viral where it was a clip from the gig, and she's like on her knees and she like pulls up her dress a bit to show the bloomers, and someone quote tweeted it saying, "I feel too woke," or whatever the phrase du jour is. Don't want to be the woke friend, but...
And you shouldn't have been, because I disagree with it.
And then it went crazy. Gina, would you like to read us some tweets?
I'll read us some tweets for sure. People are mental. Ashley Ray says, the Olivia Rodrigo wearing baby doll dresses thing is not a pedo thing, but looks like it, because to pull that off, you have to make your hair dirty, smear your makeup and free bleed. And if fans will be grossed out by that, because it is right girl as aesthetic, not the real thing. Honey Gas at Honey on My said, we need to have an actual serious conversation about Olivia Rodrigo mainstreaming Lolita and Babydoll aesthetics that appeal to paedophiles.
Could I also say that during this time, when we did our first episode, so Olivia Rodrigo works with Petra Collins and has done for years. Petra Collins was on the cover of ID, and in the interview she said that she doesn't like the return of the Lolita aesthetic, and also this isn't really the Lolita aesthetic.
No, it's like a 60s aesthetic.
This?
Yeah.
What's the Lolita aesthetic?
What?
What are you saying? Sorry.
So it's like a 60s aesthetic.
What is?
What Olivia Rodrigo's doing?
I don't think so.
Defo.
No.
And then Courtney Love stands up for Olivia Rodrigo by liking and resharing posts defending her Babydoll dresses. Duda at Saint Demi says Olivia Rodrigo spoke about 70s references and Babydoll... Oh, 70s sentiment. 70s references and Babydoll dresses in her British Vogue interview. She's living in her mood board fantasy. Chop Ho Oomph Shad said, I don't think Olivia Rodrigo is being weird wearing a Babydoll dress, but I do think the song sucks. Fuck's sake. Oh, Lord. No, the song's great, anyway. At T_James Regan said the Olivia Rodrigo Babydoll dress controversy is entirely made up of Swifties who watched a forgettable album cycle pass them by, with Taylor used the branding of the showgirl and never attempted anything for the male gaze. Wood was Bucktalk L-level slop that even skid the hose.
Right. I feel like you're just saying words there. Yeah. Like I didn't process that at all. So after the Barcelona gig, Dumois posted a picture and wrote about it, and the comment section went crazy. So the comment section on that post, Preet Design says, in a world full of Epstein co-conspirators, is this really a good idea? Someone called HM_think says, but when Melanie Martinez wore these dresses, she was called an age player. That's not why we hate Melanie Martinez, HM_thinks.
Oh, I'm not getting into that.
Esther 13_IBEH says, but you all attacked Sabrina last year for this. Okay, keep picking and choosing. Gemstone.D says, out of touch given today's world. Rock Vixen says, everyone in this comment section is mentally unwell. Lamau. Amy Mamie.insta said, it's a cute top, but sexualizing baby clothes is a bit odd.
Is she sexualizing them though? No. By just existing as a woman wearing a top that also a baby can wear?
Well, I think people were saying she was sexualizing it in that video because she was like touching her own body, but obviously that's insane.
Yeah, this like clown level of mega minded.
Well, I think this is like a really good amalgamation of all my worst things on the internet that have come together in one.
Go on.
A, people thinking they are fashion historians.
Yeah.
Which is like one of my fucking worst things on the internet of all time, which I know is like in the, you know, wider context of the world, a very harmless thing that happens on the internet. But B, pedobaiting accusations.
We are staunchly anti-pedobait as a term.
And C, just like whipping up the discourse for something like this.
People just love getting into a frenzy, don't they? One of the quotes in one of the articles was like, the reason this is happening is because people just love being angry. And I was like, true. It was in the... Sorry, what?
Are you finding it?
Yeah, I was finding it. It was by Brittany Spanos for The Cat. It's called It's Not About the Baby Doll Dress. This article is really interesting, to be honest, to talk about like Puritans and like how they've grown up now. And this is like a logical thing for the way that their logic works. But in the article, she says... She's referencing like how like people are probably basing this on like the way that like pop stars didn't really have agency back in the day, and like references 17-year-old Britney Spears when she wore a schoolgirl outfit for the Baby Hit Me Baby One More Time video, or posed for a sexy Rolling Stone cover. But then she closes the paragraph saying, in this case, however, Rodrigo is an adult woman referencing clothing trends popular with other adult women of the present and the past. There's a context and a history that has quickly been overshadowed by the internet's desire to feel immense rage at all times.
I keep seeing this about Chloe Cherry as well, Faye on Euphoria, who I keep seeing on like Facebook rage bait posts. So I don't know how she's made her way over there, but God bless. Like, some reason the Facebook moms are all over Chloe Cherry, because obviously Chloe Cherry started in porn and then went on Euphoria, but then did loads of shoots where people were like, oh, she's pedo baiting, but they were like fashion shoots for all intents and purposes. Like, whether you think they're good or bad, tasteful, untasteful, like what people are saying on Facebook was adult content was not. Like, people were just taking her photo shoots and being like, look, before she was on Euphoria, she made like pedo bait porn, but it's just conflating two things.
Well, I think that's what it makes a good connect for what I was finding interesting in the research, was that like the first time that I became aware of the term pedobait was through people like accusing OnlyFans girls of it. And now it's like crossed over from being like something that you can accuse sex workers of, which is usually the first like kind of woman who gets shit for something, and has now just crossed over into the mainstream.
Well, it's also just like absolutely crazy that all of these things, like, I know this is so fucking feminism 101, but I feel like I didn't even really think about it until the other day when I saw something about it. And it's like, yeah, we used to have terms like jailbait or whatever, barely legal, etc., etc. But I feel like those terms put the kind of shame on the men who were consuming that content, or like had younger girlfriends or like whatever. Whereas now this is all like, oh no, the women are using their agency to like
appeal,
pretend they're children to sell porn.
I don't think pedos are buying porn of adults.
Gina, that's fucking crazy.
Sorry.
That's a crazy thing to say.
I'm sorry, but someone needs to say it.
Yeah, but well, I mean, okay, you can talk about like the misappropriation of the syntax of the word pedobaiting, but I think we all know what we're getting at here in that, like, a lot of people taking issue with the fact that they perceive women to be dressing younger, and I don't necessarily think that they have a problem with, like, they don't actually think pedos are going to be enticed by Olivia Rodrigo. Of course they don't. Like, that's an absolutely cuckoo bananas.
I think people do.
No, of course they don't. Of course they don't.
do. That's why they commented being like, really, in the age of Epstein?
Yeah, but as in, like, they think, well, I think there's layers to that comment, right? So the age of Epstein thing, I think it's there was a really good part in the research out about it, actually, where it was like, this is from the punk lineage of Olivia Rodrigo's Babydoll dress. The impulse to police Rodrigo's self-presentation reads as a reflection of powerlessness in an era where those complicit in very real violence against girls goes unpunished. So, like, for example, I've forgotten my point.
You're giving the people who are using pedobait as a term
more
credence than I think I am.
No, I don't think that they are genuinely thinking that these people are like, I think that these people are maybe accusing Olivia Rodrigo of feeding into like a paedophilic culture.
Of male, like the male gaze is a paedophilic one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're literally being like, you are inviting pedos to come and to come and be around you.
So enjoy your content. I think they are.
I don't think they are. I think that's so galaxy brained.
I don't think it is. I'm sorry.
It is. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay,
Okay,
let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's go to a break. Okay, let's
Hi, Polyester Podcast girlies. Just sliding in with a little reminder that for as little as £4 a month, you can help us keep going while enjoying perks like free zines, a WhatsApp chat with both of us, digital merch, events, and even secret mini episodes. Check out the link in our description for more info. We'd really appreciate your help.
And we're back.
We're back. Okay, I take your comment on board. I think that it is interesting, like you're saying, that the like onus of who is responsible for the desires of the male gaze has shifted onto being
The women. Yeah.
Also, particularly, and I think this is something I said in the mini episode, that we see everything through that, and like the audience.
We see everything through what? Sorry, my love.
We see everything through the like this is the lens of the male gaze, and this is how the male gaze sees things. But what isn't taken into consideration is the audiences for these things. Like Olivia Rodrigo's audience is very specifically young women.
Yeah.
And like the way that they will naturally view things isn't necessarily through a male gaze.
Yeah, but then I think what the people would be saying is that like she's indoctrinating them into that. They're saying Olivia Rodrigo is this in the male gaze because by dressing in a baby doll dress, she is trying to appeal to men by looking like a baby or a girl.
What? And she's indoctrinating into youth and thinking that's okay?
Yeah.
Indoctrination is the crazy. Like, it just removes agency, not just from like the pop star who's making these like informed choices and has repeatedly said in the media the reasons that she's making those choices, which is an inspiration by the 70s and an inspiration by the female women of punk. You're taking away her agency when she's very explicitly mentioned why she's doing it, but you're also taking away the agency of the audience and being like, you are being in, and it's such like a repetitive thing that happens in pop music all the way back to like fucking Elvis, where people are like, they're indoctrinating them into believing this way. Like you will use pop culture, particularly pop music, as a vehicle for saying that the things in culture that they don't like are because
Elvis
of that.
Actually a pedo though.
Well, yeah. But like being like, that's devil music.
But okay, before I go crazy, because I do just feel like we need to get our terminology in check, not around pedobaiting, which we have done, but around the baby doll dress itself.
Yeah.
So we can tick off one part of my most hated thing on the internet, which is people being misinformed about fashion history.
Go.
So I'm not saying this is a complete history of baby doll dresses. Let's just talk about our own personal, how we know the history to be. But so obviously, yeah, I first affiliated baby doll dresses with fashion through Riot Girl movement, which was the 90s, the early noughties. Courtney Love, Kat from Babes in Toyland, Kathleen Hanna, all of these other kind of women in that scene wore baby doll dresses as kind of like a, like literally like a fuck you to male beauty standards and to put misogyny like on display. So to be like, well, to be like, oh, we feel like we didn't have childhoods because of the way men have treated us as children, so now we're reclaiming that. But being like, oh, you think this is sexy, I'm going to make it disgusting, so I'm going to wear it like when performing punk music, or I'm going to wear it with like bad makeup, I'm going to wear it like stained, whatever. So I think that's also like fairly obvious that that's where Olivia Rodrigo is coming from, which is why I guess, I know she said it herself, but it pisses me off like a bit when people are like, no, she's taking inspo from like the 70s and like French cinema, Jane Birkin, la, la, la. It's like, no, you're fucking not, girl, because you're wearing a pair of Dr. Martens. Like, you're not. Like, stop lying. Maybe you are in your British Vogue photo shoot because like the stylist has made these like neuron connections for you, but like this is her whole career. She has been doing like rocker girl vibes. It's true though.
I love that, like, for the second iteration of her wearing it, because she obviously like chose it for Barcelona post those critiques, right?
Yeah. That
she was like, no, I'll grunge this up. I'll wear the knee-high Doc Martens and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I just don't. I feel like the 70s reference of it all is like retconning it because they're like, we need to find some grown women that wear this that aren't Courtney Love.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of the Virgin Suicides, to be honest.
But they were teenage girls.
And they were teenage girls.
I mean, it's all just very in like the Tumblr oeuvre of like visual references that like Petra Collins works in and that like everyone our age works in and has like really close affinity to. So I think that is fine and obviously not pedobaiting. I think it doesn't necessarily mean that like she carries the political affiliations that like the Riot Girls did. But I've seen a lot of people being like, well, you highlighted it. Oh, it's because she's pretty. And it's like mean.
It's mean girl behaviour.
Courtney Love is beautiful.
Literally so beautiful.
Kathleen Hanna, beautiful. And also that's just such a like weird like pink washing. So like stupid and spineless to be like, oh, it's because Olivia Rodrigo is clean and pretty and Courtney Love and the Riot Girls were not. Especially because in the research, but also, yeah. It's like the Riot Girls specifically like either wrote things on their baby dolls, or I remember my geography teacher told me this story that I don't know. I think it's just one of those like, what's it called?
What?
Urban myths.
Yeah.
But he told it to our geography class, which was the first time I heard it, and I've got such a like pierced memory of it. Yeah, also crazy thing to say to a room full of like 15-year-old girls, but here we go. He said that he saw Babes in Toyland in the 90s at this venue called the Engine Rooms in Brighton, and that Kat pulled a bloody tampon out of herself and threw it into the crowd, which is something I've heard like many times, but also they might all be from people that were at that gig in Brighton, so it might be true. Have you heard that?
I've heard that before. Yeah, that she used to do that.
But have you heard it from me?
No.
Okay, fine.
But I've also heard that about other Riot Girls. Maybe it's just like a rumor about that movement.
Yeah, so I think that like those women were like very obviously playing with the politics of being a woman.
Yes.
And I think these are things that Olivia Rodrigo touches on, but she's also a pop star and not an indie rock musician.
Well, she's not like a fucking punk icon, is she?
No. And then I also saw that people were being like, then it hit the mainstream and was like really widely accepted because of designers like Anna Sui and Marc Jacobs in the 90s. Because Marc Jacobs did this really famous collection called For Perry Ellis, which was like a sportswear brand that he was hired to design. The grunge collection, which was like really famous, and like Grace Coddington did a editorial of it. But that collection was like so deeply maligned that he got fired for it. So it's not as if that like baby dolls were then like comfortably folded into the mainstream. Like they have always kind of been like a transgressive clothing item.
Yeah, I think it's kind of in when it got to Miu Miu and stuff that it started to be a bit more acceptable. But even then she was like saying, I'm doing this to like make a point about like, I think the quote was like armor for womanhood and stuff.
But then something that I thought was interesting was that in this like latest round of baby dolls being maligned or discussed, I saw this Instagram post that was like, because obviously like the whole history of baby dolls that as I know it, as a white woman is white women, and Olivia Rodrigo is not white, but by and large these are like white women dressing in baby dolls to make a certain point about femininity and womanhood. But then I saw this Instagram carousel by @kate.don and @time2unmask that was titled "The baby doll dress you love was a protest against white people before it was a feminist symbol," and it kind of talks about how in the 1800s in Trinidad, black women used baby doll masquerades to publicly call attention to the children born from violence of slavery. They cradled dolls, walked through the crowd, and publicly held men accountable for the children born of the violence of slavery. And then in 1912 New Orleans, during Jim Crow, a group of black women, many of them sex workers, sewed themselves satin dresses and invented a dance that they called Walking Ratty, reclaiming innocence, softness, and visibility in a society that denied them all three, and claiming the title of precious in a country that said black women could never be doll-like. And I thought it was interesting how like that's just like completely erased from the history of baby dolls, even though it's so aligned with the politics that we know it of. But then I think doubly on that, like, so there's obviously like layers to history and like histories that are told and untold. I also just think like, not to be like young people are bad because that's mean, but I think what we're seeing now in terms of like baby doll hate is just loads of people that have no historical context for it apart from dresses worn by babies.
Well, there's that, and I also think like the thing that people keep bringing up which is making me laugh is the like origin of the dress style for white women was in the 1940s when a particular designer like cut 90s just like at the leg to make so it would be less fabric, so that like post-war when there wasn't enough fabric and everyone was rationing and stuff, that you could make lingerie or like bedwear for women that was half the amount of fabric used and probably half the amount of labor, right? And people just keep bringing that up and then being like, but then it was worn as like costume on this film called Babydoll by Tennessee Williams, and the creator of the Babydoll hated that. She hated that name. They never had that name, and people are like, yeah, so it was like sexualized by a man in this film but the actual creator of the fashion itself didn't want it to be called that, because that name also infers like something very specific. And it also just makes me think, like, if this dress didn't have that name, would this drama be happening?
Well, I think that's like a what if the sky was pink?
But I think it is worth thinking about, because like if a woman wears dungarees, you don't say that. If a woman wears like, and this is something that was in the research for the mini episode, that was like, where if a woman wore like little kid clothes, like little baby tees,
yeah,
it isn't brought into like conversation at all.
What do you mean?
Pedobaiting accusation.
Yeah,
but
I think that makes sense.
Why?
Because if we're going back to the thing of like a paedophilic culture, it's like the whole problem is that women are sexualized like too young, and so they're sexualized in clothes that are not meant to be sexualized, so it's kind of like a full circle thing.
Yeah, it's miserable.
Yeah, but like we're not really sexualizing to what some people sexualize dungarees. We're like, there's something for everyone.
That's true. I think that it just circles back to the point at the beginning, that like being like, we're just continually erasing women of their intentions.
Well, even just like their autonomy to make a choice.
Yeah, or the thing that they're trying to represent, and like especially being like, pretty women can't do this, but you uggos can. It's
yeah, but I think
crazy.
that's the opposite of what. Oh yeah, no, that is the point you were making.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy to be like, oh, if it's very like specifically this way, then I can rail against it, but if you're doing it in another way, carry on.
Yeah, I am Babydoll pilled though.
I always think, like, when I was reading it, I was the way it was, who's the woman who does Miu Miu Prada?
Yeah.
Her quote being like, oh, I've made this like baby doll dress to be armor for women, and I was like, oh, I kind of do feel like that when I'm wearing it, because I think that like if you wear something like that in public, it does tend to repulse men. Whereas like if you're wearing something shapeless, like men want you to be wearing like form-fitting. I think in like my history of the world, or like the way that like you see like men being like the perfect woman.
Yeah.
Like would dress like this outside of like tradwifery.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like that's been changed recently because of tradwives, and like also if you go on like any of the tradwife clothes websites, or like, I'm not saying Doan is a tradwife website, but it sells a lot of the dresses that look like it. They're all like, yeah, like white cotton baby doll dresses essentially. Like I do think it's like no one's been like interrogating how the alt-right co-op baby doll dresses. It's just like Olivia Rodrigo.
Well, exactly, and I don't think she's alt-right, to be honest.
No, we don't know, but I wouldn't say so either. No, she's definitely not, because she gives loads of money to like abortion funds and stuff from Tor, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I do click at half of my like suggested ads on socials are like a nice dress, then I click on it, it's kids.
That's happened to me before.
So much.
But like, I don't think anyone's going to accuse us of pedobaiting.
No, but I'd like to see more baby doll dresses.
Well, yeah, I'd like to see more clothing available for women that isn't like, look at my form-fitting top from my giant rack. Look at my yoga pants that are just to show off my arse. They've got a seam down the middle.
I don't know. I think you're going a bit far with that one there.
I think there
should be lots of different types of clothes, and if you like wearing the bum seam yoga pants, go on with your bad self.
Yeah, I know, carry on with your bad self. I love when the girls on the train station are in like full like just lycra one pieces for whatever reason to travel in. But I think like it makes sense that women, where that's like the mainstream clothing option, would want to rebel and wear something that's completely not form-fitting.
Well, that's the end.
Thank you, Ione.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you, Tanya, for the recording.
And thank you, Lauren, for the research, and Olivia for the edit.
Look forward to hearing what you all think about this in the comment section.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.